Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir.
Very good morning.
Oh.
So I'm just waiting for the students to come join in.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We will inform, sir.
Hi Sweta, hi Lakshmi ma'am. Just let me know when the students join. I can start the session. Just waiting for them.
Yes, sir.
So good morning, everybody. So Harilakshmi ma'am, Sata ma'am, can I start or I should
Yes,
wait?
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we can start.
So first of all, good morning, everybody. So I hope you had a nice week. Yes, students.
Yes, sir.
Great. So first, we will start with a case study on AI because we have went through about the industry 4.0. We have went through the AI, IoT, machine learning, deep learning, right? We have seen how you can use NLP, how you can do the using the voice recognition, image recognition, how you can create your own AI platform. Then, of course, we have also seen that how what are the advantages of AI and how AI and machine learning can be used into the multiple industries or sectors, and of course, some of the pitfalls. But overall, you have seen that there is an enormous scope on the AI and ML, right? Combination. Now, that may come to a question how basically, with the change in this world, the dynamic world, you have seen the chat GPT has created kind of a revolution into some of the sectors. Now, which are customer specific areas, right? Now, a lot of companies are replacing some of the work using the chat GPT. Now, with this kind of industry that is always changing and the new paradigm shift that is happening around the world, right? How you need to adopt yourself, how you will work yourself so that you can increase your value, you can have more remuneration, and also you can acquire knowledge and move forward to this ever challenging or ever changing world, right? See, there are trends and mega trends happening around the world, and but each trends that happening that provides a lot of scope for you, and there you need to basically grab this opportunity. Now, if you cannot grab this opportunity, you are going to miss the bus. Of course, don't worry. The bus is coming again and again. You need to just work yourself and get into the bus to move forward. And you will find that the scope is enormous. Well, the sky is not the limit for you, right? Now, talking about this, I just wanted to be more interactive with you. And I want your participation so that can understand that you're able to understand and able to listen to me. Yes, student. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now, first of all, what I want to do is that I want to take you to a case study. And then, of course, I will take you to some of the trends and mega trends that is happening and some of the changes that is happening around the world. So are you ready for the journey?
Yes, sir.
Right. Let me share my screen. So I hope all of you have known about the Harley Davidson bike. Just let me know how many of you know about this bike. Yes, students. Are you aware of a Harley Davidson bike? A two-wheeler? Yes, student. It's available in Bangalore also. Maybe fewer you will find in Bangalore in the roads in Bangalore. Are you aware of this Harley Davidson bike? Yes or no?
Yes, sir. You know.
Right? It's one of the most popular bike in the world. In the Western world, they're crazy about this bike, right? Now we will see how using the AI, right? Harley Davidson able to increase the sales by a mere 2,930%. Can you see the figure? And that is where the case study I'm going to talk about. Are you ready for this journey? Yes, student.
Yes, sir.
So what happens? I'll just read it out and I will explain to you. so that you can understand the power of AI and how, with this small example of one company or one dealer, you can understand how AI is playing an important role in the current world, right? And how you can use this AI and your machine learning, right, and IoT to change the world around you and create your own paradigm, your own ecosystem of basically improvement, right? So it is basically a winter in New York City. And winter means in New York City, if you know the New York City where it is the northern part of USA, and it's very, very cold there into the winter, and it snows a lot, right? So what happens? The dealer was only able to sell one or two motorcycle or HD or Davidson bike in a week, right? Not much sale, right? You can understand it's basically making a little bit of money. That was enough, because if you have a dealership, right? How many of you have got bikes? You got bikes?
Yeah.
Yes. So which bike you have got? Hello, student. Please tell me your name and what bike you have got. Which company? Yes, student. I'm not able to hear you. Somebody said yes. So tell me what bike you have got. Okay. So I want to be more of interactive, not only that I'm speaking, then otherwise I feel thirsty and I have to take multiple breaks to have some water, right? I want you to also speak in between. Now, Jacoby, right? He was walking around the riverside, like if you go to Lalbagh Garden, right? So there's a park. So there's a riverside park in New York, right? And happened to bump or basically meet basically Sunny, the CEO of an AI firm, the firm called the Algorithms. So after discussing about the Jacoby's sales woes, because he's not able to sell much, right? Only one or two bikes in a week. Sunny suggested he try Albert, right? Albert is basically the AI, you can say the tool that has been created by algorithm of the firm, right? So what is it, Albert? It is AI-driven marketing platform. It works across digital channels like Facebook and Google to measure and then automatically optimize the outcome of marketing campaigns. And Jacoby decided that he would give Albert a one weekend audition, right? So they agreed, and then they said, okay, I will give you a 1 week audition and let's see how it works, right? That weekend, Jacoby sold 15 motorcycles. From one or two in a week, he was able to sell 15 bike in only in the weekend. It was almost thrice his all-time summer weekend sales record of 8, right? So you can understand how many motorcycles it has got. It was even much, much higher than his best week of sale of motorcycle. Okay, let's move down. Naturally, Jacoby kept using Albert. His dealership went from getting one qualified lead per day to 40. So you can see basically when he was getting only one lead, hardly one lead, right? To he was getting around 40 leads. So what is the percentile increase? 1 to 40. Yes, student. So how much is the increase? I hope all of you have got from maths background. Isn't it enormous from 1 lead to 40 leads a day? Okay. I think Sweta or Harilakshmi ma'am, is the problem with the speaker, or they've been all been in mute? Can you please unmute them?
Students, please interact with sir.
In the first month, otherwise I will not able to, I will think that you are not able to listen, or there's some problem in the technical problem in the network.
No, sir, there is no technical problems.
Okay. In the first month, 15% of the new leads were lookalikes, meaning that the people calling the dealership to set up a visit resembled the previous high-valued customers, and therefore they were likely to make a purchase, right? So high-value persons means the people with high net worth. That means they have the capability to buy these bikes. See, Harley Davidson bikes is not cheap bike. It is basically a high-end bike. That is why I just wanted to understand from you, if you're owning a bike, then which company's bike you're owning. You can have Bajaj, you can have Hero Honda, or you can have, right, other company bikes also. Now, if you see HD bikes, it will be much, much costlier than them. But of course, the comfort for riding this bike is, of course, a great experience. So that is why people want to go for an HD. So what they find is the people who are calling and who are planning for a visit are basically the people who have got the money to buy, and they're most likely to buy. So you can see already using the machine learning, they're trying to create kind of a data on this, right? And of course, you can understand they're creating a data lake and they're doing the data analysis also. And then on top of it, if they apply the AI, they will get a much better results of the people who are likely to buy this bike. Isn't it, student? Hello, students. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
By the third month, the dealership leads had increased by 2,930%, right? And 50% of them lookalikes, leaving Jacoby scrambling to set up a new call center with 6 new employees to handle all the new business. Where they were hardly selling 1 or 2 bikes in a week, now from the leads jumping from 1 to 40 a day, 2 or after 3 months, you can understand the leads is jumping from 2,930%, right? And where the lookalike, that is the people with high net worth, jumping to 50%. And he has to spend money for developing a call center and to have employment of 6 employees, right, to manage that call center. Now you can come to a question in your mind, right? You were thinking all now that using AI and ML, I will reduce work. I will reduce headcount in the companies. The job opportunities will go, oh my God, what will happen? There will be less job in the market, right? But you can see what is happening, right? There's an increase in the job in the market, right? So you can see 6 employees is getting employed. A firm which is running the AI, the people, the research on that, the engineers, the IT specialists for that company are also getting engaged and getting money, right? And also the economy is improving because now the people is trying to purchase their dream motorcycle or bike, the HD. So you can see there is a enormous ecosystem that is getting changed. The whole paradigm shift that is happening, right? Where people are coming and buying those bicycles, not bicycles, the bikes, that is HD. Right? So you can see there is a difference that is happening after using the AI. While Jacoby had estimated that only 2% of New York City population were potential buyers, Albert revealed that this target market was larger, much larger, and began finding the customers Jacoby didn't even knew or didn't thought of those who existed in this market, right? So you can see how using AI, it has helped to increase the whole market, right? The target segment, how it has helped, and the potential of the business, how it has helped to increase for a small dealer. Isn't that phenomenal? Yes, student. Are you there with me?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So no one of you asks, how did it happen? You're saying, yes, sir, yes, sir. But there should be a question that should come in your mind. How this all happened, right? You're being the IT students. You should have thought of that. And you should have asked me that question, isn't it? That is why I'm saying interaction is very, very important. When you join a corporate, or you being an entrepreneur, a budding entrepreneur, you need to have a communication channel open, right? You need to talk, you need to discuss, you need to learn. In Bengali, the word we call atta, right? That is basically discussion. Until unless you discuss, until you ask questions that comes in your mind, how will you develop your potential, the fantastic brain that you are having? Okay, so how it work, right? So today you have seen that Amazon, Facebook, Google, all leading AI they're using to revolution the sales, isn't it? And that has given them a huge market advantage over other consumer goods and companies and retailers by enabling them to lure huge customer base, right? Which is highly personalized and targeting the advertisement to particular target group. You have seen that if you want to buy a mobile phone and you have seen you have been exploring or past history on iPhones, which is a little bit costlier than Android phone. I'm saying normal and average Android, right? Now they will basically you will personalize your target you with a marketing campaign on the iPhone only with different basically versions of iPhone, and that will basically create yourself lured in buying those iPhones, right? Or Apple products. However, the companies such as Salesforce, IBM, and a host of startups are now beginning to offer AI marketing tools that have become both easier to use, right? That is, they don't require hiring an expensive data scientist to figure it out how to operate the tool and analyze its outputs, and less expensive to acquire the software as service as a SaaS. I've told you what is SaaS, and pay as you go pricing, and instead of optimizing the specific marketing task and working them individual marketing channels, these new tools can handle the entire process across all channels. And you have seen how chatbot is slowly and steadily replacing some of the data analysts work, right, or data engineers, because already you can get the output of that, isn't it? Using how you can get the real data replicated into synthetic data, or basically near the data, right? And how you can use them in your day-to-day use. Yes, student, any question? Let us go and see. In case of Harley Davidson, right, the AI tool, Albert, drove in-store traffic by generating leads, defined as customers who express interest in speaking to a salesperson by filling out a form on the dealership website. So what they've created, you have to understand how the company is now interacting, right? They create a portal, and in that portal, they create a form. Now using basically internet, who are basically the people interested for this HD machine, HD motorbike, right? They need to fill a form, right? And express they want to basically speak to a salesperson on the dealership website. So already the filtering has started, right? So now they will have a much better database also. So if you're only interested, right, you will fill that form in the internet. Otherwise, you will not do it. Isn't it, my students? Armed with the creative content, headlines, and visuals. So you have seen in Facebook, Netflix, Twitter, or whatever the social media you use, YouTube, right? There are a lot of advertisements that keep on coming. So if you want to see a video, what happens? There is a pop-up that happens. A small advertisement of few seconds happens, isn't it? So our friends, what they started, they basically started kind of an advertisement into the social media also, right? So that will basically also help the people around the New York City to know that there is a dealership who is selling HD bikes. So Albert began to analyze existing customer data from Jacobi's customer relationship management CRM system to isolate defining the characteristics and behaviors of high value past customers based on their basically how many times they visited that portal, or you can see how many times who are the people who are seeing this advertisement. So they have created a data based on that. Who are the people who are filling this form? Those who either has completed a purchase, added an item to the online cart, viewed the website content, or among the top 25% in terms of time spent on the website. Right? So they started creating a data set. So they're trying to create basically based on this history, a kind of a data lake, so which they will use for their analysis. Are you able to understand, student, what I'm saying? Are you able to hear me? Yes, students. Some with the creative content, right? Headlines and visuals provided by Harley Davidson, the key performance targets. Albert began by analyzing the existing customer data from the Jacobi's customer relationship CRM, right? And with that, they're able to create a data lake with the information. Using this information, Albert identified lookalikes who resemble these past customers and create a microsegment, small sample groups with whom Albert could run the test campaign. Before extending its efforts more widely, it used the data gathered through this test to predict which possible headlines and visual combination and thousands of other campaigns variables that it can have, right? Would most likely to convert the different audience and segments through the various digital channels like social media, search, display, and email and SMS to the prospective customer. So as you can see how using this database, using the analytics, they're trying to find out basically who are the people they should target to sell the bike. Now, you can see this is kind of a practical experience or practical case study that has happened in the New York City. You may be thinking that how AI is being developed, you're getting learning in your college, right? But how that is adopted by the business is the most important thing. And based on this, basically, they are trying to improve their sales. And if the sales improves, automatically what happens, the top line, with the increase of the top line, you will have an increase on your bottom line. Of course, those who are from the finance background, it will be easy to understand. And those who are not from the finance background, basically, will take some time, but if you have got questions, I'm very, very happy to explain that to you, right? So for example, when it discovered that ads with the word call, right? Such as this is basically what is happening. It's the search engine. What has been doing, it is using the word. Now they're going through the database and basically checking the word that has been used. Such as don't miss out on a pre-owned Harley with a great price, call now, and performed basically what using this search engine, what they could do, they had got 447% better than ads containing the words buy, such as buy a pre-owned Harley from our store now. So what they're using the search engine. Using the search engine, they're trying to find out from the word that has been used by the people who has gone into the website, and what are the things they've recommended or what they've put it into the portal or into the form. Using that, they're trying to create kind of a market segment or a customer segment whom they're going to target for selling more bikes. Albert immediately changed the buy to call in all ads across the relevant channels. The results basically spoke for themselves as they got an increase in the number of clients. So you can see how industry is making smart and becoming smart, right? Using some of the parameters which basically the tool is able to provide from the search or basically provide from the analytics. So as you can see in the nowadays, it is basically using IoT or basically the data that is getting captured, right? Or basically whenever the people visit any websites or the social media sites, whatever you comment you make or how long you are there into that video or into the social media or the kind of product you're liking, it all get captured. And based on this analytics, using the big data or analytics, they are able to come out basically your preferences and kind of predictive analytics, what would be your future demand for that product. Okay. Are you with me, students? Hello, students. Are you there? Now, for the Harley-Davidson AI that is using the artificial intelligence, evaluated what are working across the digital channels and what wasn't working, right? And use it to learn to create more opportunities for conversion. In other words, the system allocated resources only to what that has been proven to work, thereby increasing the digital marketing. And actually what happens is that it really helps to increase the ROI, right? And eliminating the guesswork, gathering and analyzing the enormous volumes of data and optically leveraging the resulting insights in the AI advantage, right? So what you can see, I'm not going through the whole of this case study. You can see that there is a behavioral change that we can see. There is a change how you are targeting your customers, using the marketing campaigns, using the social media, using basically the internet, how you are able to gather more inputs, right, from your database, right? Now, it is up to us, right, how we are able to utilize this for our betterment, for getting into the segment, right, where I can have higher number of customers, right? So what it does, it is basically based on the personas, basically your past history or the search, right? It using your historical data and partly by the kind of an algorithm logic that has been built to find out the predictive analytics, right? Using basically the guesswork, gut feel, the marketer's experience, right? Now, based on this, what the companies does, it's design its own marketing campaign, right? And this is what basically helps in creating a target segment, a target audience whom they need to basically attract to sell their products, right? So you have seen sometimes they go for an exhibitions, sometimes they do a marketing campaign, and you have seen in the marketing campaign, they give a forms or basically they are providing them, ask them questions, all they record it. And based on that, they actually help them to create audience. How many of you has done basically marketing campaign? Any of you has done any marketing campaign going with a form and ask multiple people and some questionnaires, and based on the questionnaires, whatever the feedback as a random sample, you're able to predict? Anybody have done that? A marketing campaign? Yes, student. Or you have been a part of such? Yes, student. Have you done any of you in your past experience?
No, sir.
Okay, you have seen when the election happens, did you see the analysts come with some survey has been done, right? And this is the results, this political party may get this number of seats. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
How did you do it? It is basically based on the random sample they do, right? And based on that, they create kind of a predictive analytics and say that this is basically number of seats in this region, this political party can win. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
So if you understand, all political parties also nowadays use a lot of AI, right? So that they can use the database of multiple campaigns that are going on, multiple surveys that is going on, use the database to analyze what is the potential they are able to win those election and in which area of the basically part of the country or state or region, right? So this is also the political parties are doing. So I'm just talking about the corporate. You have seen this is kind of a dealership. Now the same thing can be done by the political party to understand which are the areas they have a potential to win, and they can go all out to get and win that. And if they find some areas they've got less chance, they can increase their campaign to get more votes, right? And basically so that they're able to win it also. So you can see how basically into the different aspects of our life or different areas we can use this AI to increase the potential campaign and to win basically votes or basically able to sell products and services, isn't it? So AI has a potential to run in some quick areas or small areas within single geographic territory, band or channel, or to a huge area or large area also. And we can gather all the information. So one of the experiments when you do, it is very important to define the desired performance results. For example, new customers, leads, or an increased return on advertising spending, because you cannot spend too much of money, right, to on these campaigns and this thing, because there has to be and kind of a ROI that you need to get it from it, isn't it? So isn't it important to take a plunge into this? And who are the early adopters? You have seen, like for the Harley Davidson, this using AI, they're able to basically take advantage, right? So the systems are getting better and better every day. And with the potential of increasing better algorithm logic or basically coding, you are able to get the prediction as accurate as possible, right? And what is happening? You are able to help your customer to increase their sale or increase the penetration of the campaign, right? Much, much better. And which is helping in turn to increase the overall benefit to the company. So before I move on to the next topic, I just want all of you to let me know if you have got any questions. And after that, I will move to a new area of learning. Yes, student, any question from your side? You give some experience of AI and ML before I move on to the next topic. Anybody want to volunteer and give your input? What is AI and ML you have seen in your own experience, and if you can tell the other students also. So I want one or two volunteers to talk about themselves. What is the AI and ML you have interacted, because every day we are doing it, right? And if you can tell your experience. Yes, student. Anybody want to volunteer? Anyone want to volunteer? Just give me 1 minute. Okay, let me share my screen and let me go to a new area. So we will go to a new area today, right? And just wanted to check with you, how many of you know what a smart city is? Can you tell me what is a smart city? Yes, student. What do you understand by a smart city? Student, anybody know what is a smart city? I hope all of you know India is planning to have more than 100 smart cities, right? Already there is a lot of work that is happening in the Dholera smart city. That is basically in Delhi Mumbai highway, and that is 110 kilometers from Ahmedabad, right? Just to let you know, India is planning to spend more than $100 billion into the smart cities, and overall in the global, some trillions of dollars is going to be spent. So what I see, this is basically kind of a areas where there will be a lot of requirement of IT people. And with the word smart, you can understand there will be a lot of usage of IoT, AI, and ML. Right? Now, for example, in the Dolores city, they're trying to create a world-class airport, high-speed rail link, multimodal transport system, intelligent traffic management system, smart grid, sustainable water management system, waste management system, smart buildings, smart education system, smart healthcare system. And all the smart comes with a lot of IT requirement. I hope you know. Now, just think of in Karnataka itself, right? In Karnataka itself, there are multiple smart cities are planned. For example, Bangalore, Shimoga, Mangalore, Tumkur, Hubballi, Dharwad, Devangiri, and Balagavi. So you can see that so many investment that is are planned for the smart cities. That means there is an enormous scope for all of you also to be part of this journey. Isn't it, student? Yes or no? Maybe since you're not speaking, let me just do one thing. I will show you a video. I hope that will help you to get into and understand a smart city better. Right? So let and go to a
How
smart city.
smart is your city? Chances are it's getting smarter by the year. Many governments around the globe are racing to infuse technology into just about every aspect of its city's operations. And I mean every part, including public transportation, IT connectivity, water and power supply, sanitation and solid waste management.
So you can see in case of a smart city, right? You will have a public transportation smart way. Now, I do not know how many of you have traveled to abroad. Now, in case if it is a Japan, if a bullet train is supposed to come at 10:22 a.m. in the morning. The train will be there by 10:22. In Germany, you can basically set your watch, whatever the train is supposed to come, or the tram, whatever it is, right? Exactly, it comes on the same time, right? That is how they are so accurate, and they're able to create a public system where they're able to predict how much time it will take to go from one place to another. I hope you have taken a ride in Bangalore Metro, where basically the time the train is supposed to come, you get into the train or metro train at the same time, right? So you can predict if I want to travel from MG Road, for example, metro station, right, to another part, maybe you go to Majestic, right? You know exactly what time you'll be able to reach there because the duration of the from MG Road to Majestic will be exactly what has been mentioned, right? And you know what time your metro's train is coming. Generally, in 5 minutes duration, it comes. So you can just predict and you can go and take a ride in the metro and you can go there. Next is IT connectivity, water. You need to have basically a sustainable ecosystem around you. And that is one of the things in the smart cities they're planning to have. Power supply is very, very important because to run this, all these IoTs and all the smart things, you need a power. And for that, you need a sustainable power energy and renewable power energy. You need to have a basically a pollution-free smart city so that you can have the people coming there and with basically less pollution so that it provides health conscious people to come there, right? Now, in case of you have seen the pollution level in Delhi, who are from Delhi, in the winter it is so high that is basically it's very become difficult to breathe even. And you have seen a lot of asthma problems that are coming around the world because of this pollution and the air pollution especially. Next is that you need to have the proper e-governance. And if it is on the internet, you can basically search and get all your stuffs done so you don't have to travel those places. Now, if there are basically a lot of horns and sounds, then basically it is also not good because that is a sound pollution, what we call. You need to basically run the city with lesser sound so that it becomes good for the humans who are staying there. And for the old people, they don't want to hear too much of noise or sound, right? So you want basically the population who are not having getting affected by the sound pollution, and you want the citizen to participate and basically create a harmony and basically an environment that is basically vibrant and bubbling with energy, and that gives a lot of positivity, and that is what you also want to be part of, that isn't it, student? Hello students, are you there? Are you able to hear me? Hello students, are you able to hear me? uh, can you please somebody unmute and let me know, are you able to hear me? Hello.
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Efficient urban mobility, e-governance, and citizen participation. And it does this using every buzzword imaginable, from big data to the Internet of Things. So how does a smart city work? Let's look at 3 examples. Here in Singapore, the city-state might be the gold standard of the most extensive effort to collect data on daily living. The government is now deploying systems that can tell when people are smoking in prohibited zones or littering from high-rise housing. Singapore launched its own Smart Nation program in 2014 and will add more cameras like these so the government can effectively monitor crowd density, cleanliness of public spaces, and even the exact movement of every locally registered vehicle. Much of the data it's collecting will be fed into an online platform called Virtual Singapore that gives the government access to how the
This is called the Eye of Singapore. Basically, it takes 1 hour to rotate from the bottom. Again, in 1 hour, it comes back to this. And you can see basically the whole skyline of Singapore. And Singapore is very, very close. It's basically bordering Malaysia. Maybe you can see some part of Malaysia also.
The city is functioning in real time. It could help the government predict how crowds might react to an explosion in a shopping mall, or how infectious disease might spread. Over in Dubai, more than 50 smart services from 22 government entities have been rolled out as part of the government's Smart Dubai initiative. Using the government-provided app Dubai Now, you can do things like pay a speeding ticket, which likely captured you on a public camera and then emailed you the ticket directly. You can also use the same app to pay your electric bill, call a taxi, track a package you sent to your friend, find the nearest ATM, renew your vehicle registration, track the visa status of a relative, and report a violation to the Dubai police. Now head over to Barcelona, where one research firm estimates the city will save billions of dollars a year in energy costs just by installing smart systems like these. Number one, smart streetlights. Public lighting that adapts and dims when there's no activity but brightens up when sensors detect motion. The second, parking sensors. Instead of driving in circles looking for a spot to park, drivers can get real-time information on an app which locates free parking spots. Sensors on the street curb use lighting and metal detectors to know if a parking spot or loading area is occupied. And finally, garbage sensors, which are actually compact drop-off containers which have a vacuum network through pipes which sucks up trash below ground. The automated waste collection not only lowers noise pollution from garbage trucks, but also lowers costs and keeps bad odor away. Juniper Research estimates that by 2021, cities will save nearly $19 billion by making their cities smart. But of course, to save money, sometimes you have to spend it first. The global smart city market is estimated to attract $15 billion.
So, in fact, the market that is much, much more. Just to let you know, the Neom city that is getting built in Saudi Arabia, the Saudi Arabia government is spending more than $500 billion, and it is said that is only the basic cost. And of course, what you see is going to be touching almost $1 trillion. That city is already under development. That is a big called the straight line. It's a huge straight line that is getting constructed in the deserts of Saudi Arabia. Right? Any questions, students? Hello, students. So what you understand is that to create a smart city, you need to have investment initially, right? You need to have your risk management. You need to have your energy. It's always better to have a clean energy. And to have a clean energy, you basically prefer either it's a solar energy or it's a windmill or it's kind of a, you can have hydro energy, but everywhere you cannot have a hydro energy, right? You can, if it is the smart city near the seashore, you can convert the sea waves into energy, or you can use green hydrogen to convert and provide you the energy or electricity, right? So this is basically kind of thing that you can use. Now, any question from you, students? Hello, students, any question? So what we understand, a smart city is a technologically modern urban area that uses different types of electronic methods and sensors to collect specific data. Information gained from the data is used to manage assets much, much better, the resources and the services efficiently. In turn, right? The data is used to improve the operations across the city. So you can basically check about the streetlights, for example. In the smart city, you want basically the car travel with less hindrance of red lights. So based on that, you can create kind of a smart signaling system. And with that, basically it helps the driver to basically non-stop driving on the streets because it is censoring where the traffic is there and automatically allowing the time the green light should be on or which are the areas a green light should be on and basically which are the areas they need to basically put the red light signal. So you can see a better traffic management can be done using your information that you're gathering and basically helping in the real time your whole traffic management system. Now let's go to another maybe video because I'm not getting any interaction from you. So I will prefer basically if you can speak, that will be great. Otherwise, let me show you some smart cities that are in future that are coming up. Right? So these are the smart cities that is in future that is coming up. Let's see.
City designs are beginning to struggle to support everyone that relies on them. And this means planners are going back to the drawing board to develop urban spaces of the future by incorporating the latest technologies and reducing the overall environmental impact. Development is already underway on a number of them, so in this video we'll be taking a look at 7 incredible futuristic cities that are planned by 2050. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, subscribe to Most Extreme and ring the bell to get notified of our latest videos. Net City, China. Tencent is China's answer to Google, having dominated the country's online space for years. Just like its American counterpart, it has generated a huge fortune that is now being reinvested into developing technologies and ideas for the future. One of which is Net City, a space that will begin as a futuristic city campus for the company's employees. Located on 320 acres of empty space in Shenzhen, China, work is already underway to build Net City, and the plan is for the first people to be able to move in by 2027. The size of Midtown Manhattan, the company will, of course, benefit from having its employees so close to where they work. But the idea is far wider than just that, with the hope that it'll provide a blueprint for future urban designs around the world. At the centre of the development will be the new corporate offices for the company, but surrounding these will be everything residents need for a fulfilled lifestyle. There will be homes, schools, recreational areas and stores, all of which will be arranged in a way that makes them easily accessible by foot or public transport, with no need at all for personal transportation like cars. The significantly reduced pollution will maintain a much higher air quality than any other urban environment, and this will be taken a step further by the inclusion of grass-covered rooftops on every building, and systems that will collect water for use by residents, while at the same time managing the runoff and preventing flooding. Green energy will make up the vast majority of the city's.
So you have seen how flood has devastated China, right? Now you have seen that millions of people has got affected in China during the recent flood. You have seen in the video on the social media how the cars are floating around with the flood that is happening recently in China, right? So flood control in China is very, very critical because every year with the typhoons or basically the enormous rains, it is seen that huge amount of flood is happening and basically affecting the Chinese people. So flood control is one of the critical aspects in these cities they need to take care.
Power requirements too, with the intent being that the entire place will be carbon neutral. If this project proves to be successful, we could well see large companies following in their footsteps and building cities of their own, which would completely change the way we see our work and home life balance. Woven City, Japan. With cities around the world looking for new technologies to help reduce pollution and increase efficiency and living conditions, companies are developing new ways to test their designs in a real-world setting. Toyota is currently building Woven City, which is being envisaged as a prototype city that will be used to prove the viability of new ideas before they are deployed elsewhere. Covering an area of 175 acres on the former site of a car manufacturing facility and at the base of Mount Fuji, the city will be able to house up to 2,000 people, most of whom will be Toyota employees. Everything will be powered by hydrogen fuel technology, and it'll be there that the company tests new autonomous vehicles, smart home technologies, robotics, and other creations, making it the most futuristic city in the world. One of the cleverest parts of the city is that it will use 3 different types of street or pathway that are woven together. The first type of street will be solely for fast vehicles. The second will be for slower ones like mobility scooters, bicycles, scooters and pedestrians, while the third type will be like promenades, which can only be used by pedestrians. Due to be ready within the next few years, Woven City will show how a changed view towards urban planning, in combination with new advances with technology, will completely change the way we look at cities and what life in them should be like.
Monsoon invites various problems. Trust
You
grows
can
in
see is
650,
that
starts releasing in 5
in
minutes.
China or Japan,
Hey,
right?
are you someone who faces problems
how
in remembering
basically
Excel
they have
formulas?
been using this.
What if I tell you that
So you can see
Eco-Atlantic City, Nigeria. The city of Lagos in Nigeria is one of
how basically the smart cities come out, right? And which is basically the paradigm shift on the thought process for the people living there. So the people nowadays, you will find they're removing basically owning a car to basically using the public transport within the cities. Basically, they're trying to create into the driverless cars. Thereby, they're able to manage the traffic management much better. The pollution level in the smart cities is going to be very less or bare minimum, using basically renewable energy, and also the whole atmosphere. They're going to have a lot of flora and fauna that is basically creating a green atmosphere. This will also help basically increase the longevity of the human beings, reduce basically the effect of their health, and people will be willing to come and stay into these cities. So as you can see, this is where there are basically the paradigm shift that is going to happen in the world. Let's move to the another smart city in Africa.
the fastest expanding urban areas in the world, and planners have been looking for ways to redesign regions fit for the future, while at the same time helping to preserve what's already there. Eco-Atlantic City is one of the most ambitious developments taking place anywhere on Earth, and will create an incredible space to supercharge the local economy for decades to come. Covering an area of almost 4 square miles, the entire city is actually being built on a newly created peninsula attached to the Victoria Island district of Lagos, which has required millions of cubic yards worth of materials and tens of thousands of tons worth of rocks to be reclaimed from the Atlantic to form it. Surrounded by a 5-mile wall designed to protect the land from being eroded by the ocean, its presence is also expected to slow down erosion further along the coast, which will protect other parts of Lagos too. Split into 10 separate districts, once it's complete, Eco-Atlantic City is expected to be home to 250,000 residents, most of whom will commute into Lagos each day for work. All structures will be built with environmental standards in mind, with the plan being that the power usage will be provided by green sources on the peninsula itself, and there are hopes that it will also become a tourist destination in its own right. Akon City, Senegal. It takes a visionary to get an ambitious project off the ground, and in the case of Akon City in Senegal, the man behind the plan is none other than Akon, the internationally renowned recording artist and entrepreneur. According to the man himself, the idea for the city was inspired by the Black Panther movie.
So I hope most of you have seen the Black Panther movie, isn't it? Hello students, have you seen the Black Panther movie? Hello students, are you able to hear me? Hello students, are you able to hear me?
Sir, you are audible, sir.
Yeah, so how many of you have seen the Black Panther movie? In that movie, you have seen there is a futuristic city, right? Isn't it? I think the students, some problem with the technical problem, maybe let's continue.
And this is his attempt to create a real-life Wakanda. Planned to cover an area of 2,000 acres around 62 miles from Dakar, it'll be a mixed-use development comprised of huge skyscrapers, shopping malls, tourist resorts, entertainment venues, a technology hub, and a large music recording complex. With an estimated price tag of $6 billion, all energy that's used will be derived from green sources, and the hope is that it'll massively stimulate the local economy. The buildings will all have an otherworldly aesthetic, with sketches showing they'll look like they've come straight out of a sci-fi movie. But the most futuristic thing of all will be the economy. Rather than using cash or any traditional fiat currencies, everything in Akon City will revolve around the use of its own cryptocurrency, called the A-coin. Masdar, United Arab Emirates. With the world trying to move on to alternatives to fossil fuels, countries like the United Arab Emirates are using their vast wealth that has been derived from oil to invest in strategies to keep their economies just as vibrant in the future. And one of the ways they're doing this is the development of new futuristic cities like Masdar. Construction is already underway on a 2.3 square mile site around 11 miles to the southeast of Abu Dhabi, and despite a number of delays, it's hoped that it'll be complete by 2030. At an approximate cost of $22 billion, the idea is that it'll be fully powered by renewable energy, will employ novel water collection and recycling techniques, and will become a hub for companies working in green industries. It's already home to the headquarters of the International Renewable Energy Agency, and has also attracted scientific and technology institutes to set up there too. Eventually, it's expected to be home to up to 50,000 people, with a further 60,000 commuting to the city each day to support the 1,500 businesses that will be based there, all of whom will use the public mass transit system instead of personal vehicles. Starbase, Texas. Cities of the past were built around sources of natural resources, such as rivers or important structures, like churches, and it's likely that the cities of the future will follow this principle too, although around more modern structures. Starbase in Texas will become one of the best connected places in our solar system, because at the center will be the main launch facility being operated by SpaceX. The rocket launch base has already been constructed in Boca Chica village at the southern tip of Texas, and Elon Musk hopes that the presence of his company will encourage the place to regenerate and expand around it, creating the world's premier technology center with access to outer space, as well as fast connections with elsewhere around the world. To do this will require a huge investment in infrastructure, with Musk already committed to developing a public water provision system and the development of a natural gas plant, as well as overcoming local resistance to his grand plans. While Starbase may well be a pipe dream right now, the billionaire visionary shouldn't ever be counted out, and if anyone's able to create a spaceport city, then it surely will be him. Neom, Saudi Arabia. We normally think of cities as being huge developments, based around a central point. But what if we completely rethought this idea and built them in a linear fashion instead? That's exactly what's happening with Neom, a $500 billion cross-border project that's underway in eastern Saudi Arabia. At its core will be a 105-mile-long linear city that will become home to 1 million residents, around which the rest of the city will be built. No cars will be used there, with a green energy mass transit system being the main means of moving people around. And the plan is that every daily service needed by residents will be accessible within 5 minutes walking distance from where they live. It'll be powered by green hydrogen energy plants, be designed to conserve energy as much as possible, and will focus on being a hub for international companies to drive further investment in the region. To make this possible, huge advances in technology are needed, such.
So you can understand there's so much of scope around the world. Why I've selected about the smart city is that there are going to be billions of dollars that will be poured into this. And where basically to become it more smart, you require smart people to do the programming, coding, testing, right, and developing of all those smart appliances. And huge amount of IoT requirement is there, right, to capture the data. Of course, a lot of things that need to be moving. You need AI and ML also to be built. So, of course, a lot of analytics need to be done, big data analytics, security need to be there, cyber security has to be done. So, as you can see, if you have selected your IT career, you can have a huge potential for each of you into this area. Isn't it, student?
Faster trains that will run underground, and an artificial intelligence system that will be used to monitor what's happening in the city, to react to developing issues and improve overall efficiency.
So as you can see that we are able to see huge amount of development in the IT cities that are happening, the smart cities that are happening around the world, right? There can be a question that can come, what are the smart cities in India, right? Of course, I told you. So let's go and see what are the smart cities that are also planned in India, right? So let me just show you some of the smart cities. I think about it. Some problem. Okay, so we can go and see this later on. I think there is. Let me just give me 1 minute. Okay. Let me share my screen. And let me check if it is we're able to see, or otherwise.
ये है इंडिया की टॉप 7 अपकमिंग न्यू सिटीज। नंबर 7 पर है ड्रीम सिटी गुजरात, जिसको गुजरात के सूरत में बनाया जा रहा है और ये स्मार्ट सिटी 2030 तक रेडी हो जाएगी। नंबर 6 पर है न्यू टाउन वेस्ट बंगाल। फ्रेंड्स, ये एक पोस्ट स्मार्ट सिटी है जिसको वेस्ट बंगाल के कोलकाता से 11 किलोमीटर दूर बनाया गया है। नंबर 5 पर है गिफ्ट सिटी गुजरात। फ्रेंड्स, गिफ्ट सिटी को इंडिया के सबसे बड़े इंटरनेशनल ट्रेडिंग जोन के तौर पर बनाया जा रहा है। नंबर 4 पर है नया रायपुर या अटल नगर। दोस्तों, इस सिटी को पुराने रायपुर से 20 किलोमीटर दूर बनाया जा रहा है और ये भी एक फुली स्मार्ट सिटी होगी। नंबर 3 पर है एडा सिटी उत्तर प्रदेश। दोस्तों, इस सिटी को यमुना एक्सप्रेसवे के आसपास बनाया जा रहा है और इसमें आराम से 35 लाख तक लोग रह सकते हैं और ये सिटी स्मार्टफोन मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का हब होने वाला है। नंबर 2 पर है नैना स्मार्ट सिटी महाराष्ट्र, जिसको मुंबई से 25 किलोमीटर दूर मुंबई पर पॉपुलेशन प्रेशर को कम करने के लिए बनाया जा रहा है। इस न्यू स्मार्ट सिटी में 80 लाख से 1 करोड़ तक लोग आराम से रह सकते हैं। नंबर 1 पर है धोलेरा स्मार्ट सिटी, जिसको गुजरात में बनाया जा रहा है। ये इंडिया का नंबर 1 वेल प्लान सिटी होने वाला है, जिसमें खुद
In fact, I think I have already told you about the smart city of this one, right? Now, Roleda, but there are other smart cities that are coming up. For example, Bhopal, that is coming up. Bhubaneswar, it is there, right? So there are basically Gurgaon, Pune. So all those smart cities, more than 100 smart cities that are coming up. So as you can see, there will be a huge amount of investment that is getting put. For example, in case of Bhopal, they have created a separate cycle lane for the people to use, so that way they can reduce the number of pollution, right? Because more the cars that are used using the petrol and diesel, you will have more pollution. In fact, you have seen that how basically government of India is also saying that they want to reduce the fuel, basically the cars which are getting used by petrol and diesel to biofuel or to battery or using green hydrogen, so that the pollution level comes down and also our dependence on the crude oil also comes down. As you know, India is basically the world third largest importer of crude oil, and huge amount of forex is spent to buy this crude oil, right? So our dependency also will come down on buying the crude oil. So that will also give us basically a good GDP growth and also will enable the domestic industry to flourish. And there will be a shift on basically the way the car is getting manufactured, automobile getting manufactured, from the cars using petrol or diesel to more of battery, right? So you have seen basically like Indian Oil with the Israeli company has got a technology where using the aluminum, they're going to use the battery. Now there are basically a huge amount of investments the government of India is planning. I think they're planning to have around 10,000 buses that will be run on hydrogen, cleaner fuel, and for that they're planning to spend almost around $2.4 billion, around 15,000 crores. Now, looking into all this aspect, right? As you can see that the government is also spending huge amount of money and trying to bring the latest technology in. Maybe you are not aware that around the world there is basically zero carbon emission that is planned, or basically like in Europe they want to have the zero carbon by 2030. In India, we are planning 2070, and globally, we are planning around 2050%. India being a developing nation, we need basically huge investment to do this because we have got around 1.4 billion people. So that is where the sustainability is coming into existence. And with this also, we can see that huge amount of investment that are going to happen around the world. So you have to basically adapt yourself and you need to be jumping into this bus, which basically talk about the next gen and how we are going to support our future, right? So that is how the smart cities around the world that is getting developed are basically the potential huge investment that are coming up. So being this is the mega trend that are coming up, right? You need to be part of this. Let me go and show you some another video. Maybe this can also help you to understand about the smart city and how this is planned, right?
With thousands of camera and other live information sources available, finding and tracking relevant information in any cities through IAD system. We can track the people and the crowd in the buildings. Manage the entire school students and assets and also any business place. We can also control the building through data such as switch off the lights, air conditioner, etc. Also we can process the satellite images for route and city planning through artificial intelligence. Also we can do facial recognition, facial emotion and expression in the crowd. We can detect the gender, male, female. We are able to cover the human body detection. They don't have it and we can do it with specific actions such as running, walking, trying to kill, etc. Can do the object detection such as car, traffic lights, etc. We can track the location who enters into the restricted areas. Virtual avatar can easily connect to human. If any case, avatar can connect doctors online for a consult.
Symptoms might include tremor, rigidity, slowness of movement, and balance problems. Does that help?
A lot. Thanks, Ava.
I've got Dr. Frank on the line. He's ready for your appointment.
We can track the classroom student to find their moods and expression in each student and also track their moods in general to identify their happiness, mental illness, depression, and psychiatry problems. We prefer automatic attendance system to find their presence. Virtual tutors who designed and personalized to connect with students. Create the animated characters to connect with the child abused kinds to get improved from their state. We do this through AI. Reach us at hubino.com.
So
You, and you all are fired. And you are promoted. Can you explain me how did you get promoted?
the some
Simple. I've been using ChatGPT and other AI tools to
Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me share my screen again. Okay. So what you have seen is that there are multiple smart cities, and for example, from tracking of basically the traffic, tra- tracking basically the uh, people's mood, to tracking whether there are basically any terrorist or basically any mischievous in the city, helping the driverless car, also able to provide you the smart city, environment friendly atmosphere for the people to stay, right? Let's, I think some of the smart cities you have already seen in Greece, which we have in the previous, I think, sessions I've taken you, how you can use the smart light, smart when the people are not there, there is no light. When there is people who are coming into that place, the smart light goes on. Or you have seen the smart parking, based on the app, you can find it out, which are the places you can park your car, right? Similarly, you have seen how in Taiwan, they're able to utilize basically the smart way of parking the car. The people who are because the space is very, very less. And if you come to the main city, Taiwan, capital city, right? Then basically there are very less space to park your cars. Now, if the people who are living that city for the work outside, the carriage is empty, and they can basically rent it and they can earn a money. And similar time, they can basically other people who are visiting the city can park their car. Similar way, you have seen how basically the convergence of technology is happening, which is making the life of the people much, much easier. Now, let's go and see a video on Japan, another smart city in Japan. And as you can see around the world, huge investment is happening. And this is basically making our life much, much easier. So let's go and see a video on Japan.
Picture yourself at the top of Mount Fuji. If you look down, you'll see a futuristic city nestled between the sprawling green tea fields. That's Toyota's $10 billion woven city. It has an innovative basket-like design that's intertwined with 3 types of roads: smart houses, research facilities, and an underground transport system. 360 of Toyota's best inventors live in Woven City, and they are constantly working on new technologies to assist the city's residents. Woven City is years away from becoming a reality, but today, we're giving you a sneak peek. Let's head down for a closer look. It looks like that $10,000 Toyota e-Palette autonomous vehicle is empty, so let's hop inside and take a drive through Woven City. The first thing you'll notice is just how big the city is. It was built on 175 acres and is home to 360 inventors, as well as seniors with mobility issues and families with young children. Eventually, 2,000 Toyota employees will call Woven City home, and there will be people from all demographics living here, including retirees, scientists, and retailers. You'll notice that Woven City uses a unique grid system made up of 3 types of interconnected roads. We're on a road built specifically for autonomous vehicles. But over there, you'll notice a road made for pedestrians, as well as people on bikes or scooters. That road over there doubles as a linear park and is only for pedestrians. All 3 types of roads flow together seamlessly. Traffic congestion is never a problem in Woven City, and the roads elegantly weave through the smart houses and buildings. You'll also notice that there's no pollution in Woven City. The air is crisp and fresh because there are miniature parks around every corner. The roads are lined with shrubs, fruit trees, and cherry blossom trees. In true Japanese fashion, Woven City's technology blends seamlessly with nature. There's one thing that you can't see as we drive through Woven City: the sensors. These sensors collect data that can be used to improve the artificial intelligence and robots in Woven City. Woven City is a living laboratory, so the data that's collected can be used to develop other smart cities around the globe. Governments around the world are expected to spend $41 trillion on smart city infrastructure over the next 20.
So I hope you know what is $41 trillion, right? Yes, student. Indian economy at this moment is around $3.5 trillion, right? So as you can understand, it is 12 times the Indian economy itself. The world is going to spend in next 20 years. So you can understand the amount of scope that is lying in front of you. It is you only need to basically grab this opportunity, right? So you need to work, and we have passion to work on this new emerging technologies.
Years, so that information is invaluable. Let's take the e-palette over to Woven City's Central Plaza. Woven City's Central Plaza is more than just a town square. It's a place where the city's residents can shop, socialize, or even attend a concert. The robots that work in Woven City can put together a concert stage in no time, and you'll notice that the Toyota e-pallets parked in the Central Plaza double as miniature retail shops. They can even be used as food stalls during festivals. There are research facilities all over Woven City, including one at the top of that retail shop. We can take a look inside by driving to the top via the roadway that's built directly into the side of the building. This is where engineers and scientists work on new technologies for Woven City. Over there, you'll see an engineer designing new autonomous vehicle tech, which is something that happens on a daily basis in Woven City. Toyota purchased Lyft's autonomous vehicle division for $550 million, and the company is now one of the world's leading AV manufacturers. There is also a robotic team hard at work in this research facility. Over there, you'll see engineers working on a $2.5 million THR-3 humanoid robot. The robots roam the city freely, helping residents with daily tasks. That engineer is testing a ceiling-mounted robotic butler. It's a type of gantry robot which was first developed by the Toyota Research Institute following a $1 billion investment. You'll find one of these robots in every Woven City smart home. Speaking of smart homes, let's take a tour of one now. The smart homes in Woven City combine traditional Japanese craftsmanship with eco-friendly technology and robotics. Every smart home is made from carbon-neutral wood and built using the ancient art of Japanese wood joinery. No nails, no hammers, no carpenters either, at least not human ones. Woven City's smart homes were built by robots. You'll notice that every smart home is topped with solar photovoltaic panels. These panels power the homes, and excess energy can be stored and used in other parts of the city. Let's head inside this smart home for a closer look. Over there, you'll see the home's robotic gantry arm tidying up. The robot butler can also assist residents who have mobility issues. Don't worry about restocking the fridge or taking out the trash. That's all done automatically using sensor-based artificial intelligence. The home's AI can even monitor your health and remind you when it's time to exercise or get some fresh air. Toyota micro-pallet robots can deliver packages directly to residents. These miniature six-wheeled robots simply enter the home via a mini elevator that's connected to an underground system of tunnels called the Matternet. Speaking of which, let's follow one of these cute mini robots and take a look at Woven City's underground infrastructure. All of Woven City's support facilities are located underground, from the hydrogen power system to the storm filtration system. They're all seamlessly integrated with the Matternet transport system that reaches every part of the city. The micro-pallet robots are super speedy and can deliver a package in just minutes. So what did you think of Woven City? It may be the most impressive.
So you have seen basically kind of a city in Japan that is getting developed, right? So any questions, students? Hello, students, any question? Want to be a part of this kind of a city? Now, I will take basically a 1 minute break, and I will come and again explain you. Right, let me have some water break, and then again we will start. Okay, so I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Okay, students. Now you have seen basically what is happening around us. There is a war that is happening between Russia and Ukraine. There is a problem that is happening around the world is the food crisis, right? Because Russia and Ukraine together exports around 1/3 of the wheat. In fact, also pulses and the oil seeds like the sunflower. Also regarding the raw material like the coal, right? Fertilizers. Now those has got affected. Now with basically the turmoil that is happening in Africa, like the Niger, Mali, and other areas where there may be another kind of a social unrest or maybe a war that can happen in the Africa. With all those ever changing that is happening around the world, right? It is affecting the economy. The prices are going up. For example, India has already banned the export of the non-basmati rice and also some other food crops, right? So what is happening? Because it want to first satisfy the need of the Indians. Now you have seen the prices of tomatoes gone up very, very high, and we have to import some tomatoes from our neighboring countries like Nepal has sent huge quantity of tomatoes. So by doing that, the prices of tomatoes has come under control. Generally, we do an import and export to wherever there is a deficiency of those kind of food grains or food crops or fruits, we import it. And wherever there is excess amount, we export it to earn some extra money. That in turn helps the farmers a lot. But if think of those countries which are not producing, like for example, African countries, where there is very less agricultural land, and if they're not able to import those food grains or fruits at a reasonable price, the prices goes up, those people will really suffer. So looking at it, let me share and show you a video what is happening around the world because of the kind of impact that this Russia-Ukraine war is happening around, right? Let me go and show it to you.
Crises, but resulted in economic devastation that will reverberate far beyond Ukraine's borders. Ukraine is the largest country by land area entirely in Europe, and despite its struggling economy, it plays a crucial role in global trade. Called the breadbasket of Europe because of its highly fertile soil, Ukraine is the world's 5th largest exporter of wheat and the 4th largest exporter of corn and barley. It's also the top exporter of seed oils, accounting for 46% of the world's sunflower oil supply. Ukraine's agricultural exports flow mainly to the global south, with countries such as Indonesia and Lebanon heavily dependent on its grain to feed their populations. Beyond its agricultural capacity, Ukraine is rich in minerals. With the mining industry worth more than $15 billion, the country is the world's 5th largest exporter of iron and the 4th largest exporter of titanium. It's a significant producer of gallium and germanium, which are used on semiconductors, fiber optics, and light-emitting diodes. Ukraine also produces...
So you can understand the raw material for the semiconductors also come from Ukraine, right? Now, if those are not coming, you can imagine the impact because every day-to-day life, we need semiconductors.
This is nearly 70% of the world's neon and 40% of its krypton, both used in the semiconductor manufacturing process. A disruption in the supply of these technology-critical elements will likely exacerbate the existing global chip shortage caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Disruption of Ukraine's exports is only part of the story. Russia's invasion has severely crippled its own economy. As 1/6 of the world's landmass, Russia's share of global commodity markets is massive. It's the world's largest wheat exporter and the top producer of barley and buckwheat, feeding countries such as Egypt, Turkey, and Bangladesh. The country is a key exporter of agricultural fertilizers, accounting for 18% of the world's potash and 20% of its ammonia. Russia's extensive mining industry is first in global diamond production, second in platinum, third in gold, and fourth in silver, and is an important source of rare earth metals such as vanadium and cobalt. Most importantly, Russia is the world's largest supplier of natural gas and the second largest oil exporter. Germany is heavily reliant on Russian gas to meet its energy needs. As Russia faces severe international sanctions for its invasion and retaliates by suspending key exports, shortages and higher prices in key sectors are likely to be felt all over the world. Yet the disruption is also likely to lead to long-term realignments of political and economic relationships as countries seek to replace the loss of Russian and Ukrainian imports with goods from other countries. The conflict may also accelerate the transition to renewable and nuclear energy, as Western countries are.
Right, so you have seen how basically the impact that is happening for this. Now you need to understand, like Russia is exporting oil and gas to multiple countries, and especially to Europe. Right? You have seen the Nord 1, Nord 2, or those pipelines that goes through the Ukraine. Now, this disruption has really affected the industries of the Western Europe and also the Eastern Europe. Like Germany, which is power hungry for a lot of chemical industries where you require a lot of power, or aluminum industries, right? Now, if you do not have basically the electricity at the lower cost, if you do not have your gas at the lower cost, your cost of production will go up. That means you will be basically, your products that you're selling in the market will be very, very high, and slowly you will be driven out of the market. Why I'm talking about this? Because already if you see UK and Germany, there is almost kind of recession setting in. The GDP growth has come down, and that is basically affecting the day-to-day life of the people there. So basically what is happening, the purchasing power of the people coming down, and industry suffering. That means you may think, why I'm sitting in India, I have to worry for this, because we are into the global economy. And if we are in the global economy, what is happening? For example, the IT sourcing. Now they want to basically source the IT to India, right? India is basically has got large number of IT people. If they're not able to make money, they will basically going to ask the outsourcing partner to reduce the cost, or to optimize, or to automate, right? Of course, if you see the IT outsourcing, every year, every month, every day, the prices are coming down. You have to understand, if the companies is not able to generate a value, it will not be able to pay to its employees also, right? Because it can only pay to its employees if it's able to earn profit. So in turn, to reduce the cost, the companies need to do a lot of automation, need to apply a lot of basically AI and ML into basically the services that's they're providing it to the end customer. So in one way, as you can see, there is going to be a lot of encouragement to use AI and ML. So as I told you, each basically kind of change that is happening in the world, you will see that it triggers another thought process. It triggers kind of an opportunity. And you need to grab this opportunity, and you need to basically adapt yourself to the ever-changing world, right? Now, let us go and see basically also due to COVID or the finance mismanagement of multiple countries, what has the impact that has happened. So let us see another video. Why I'm showing you this video? Because then you will be able to understand that what are the things, what is happening around the world, and where we can basically get ourselves aligned and do better, right? So let me show you another video. You have seen about Sri Lanka, right? It basically taken huge loan from China, but they were not able to pay the loan. Next thing, what happened is that they had to give a part of their city for 99 years of lease to China. They bought some fertilizers from China, biofertilizers, and those found to be absolutely with worms, and the whole agricultural land was spoiled. And they're not able to grow their crops. Sri Lanka is basically one of the largest exporter of tea. Now they're not able to produce the tea and they cannot sell it to the market. It was a major crisis in Sri Lanka happened, and you have seen there has been a change in the political power or leadership also. Let's go and watch the video. See, they had a basically tourism is one of the basically business they used to have, right? With COVID, tourists were not also coming. So tourism industry also suffered a lot. And state foreign exchange were absolutely not there to import basically crude oil or basically refined petrol or diesel. So the people in common people were not able to have any of those petrol or diesel. If you do not have that, you cannot run your bike or your car, or you do not have power, electricity at your home. So the industries also suffered a lot, right? So you can understand one after another mismanagement or basically misfortune and how it lead to a country into big disaster. This is our neighbor, so we need to be concerned also. So you can see another neighbor, Pakistan, right? So absolutely the country into big financial problem because of the political party and because of the political decisions. They invest huge amount of money on arms and ammunitions in defense rather than investing the money on developing the industry or the agriculture, right? And which has left basically the country with very, very less of forex and major problem for this country. Now we are going to basically a country in the Latin America, right? And you can see how Latin America suffered because of some of the wrong decisions that have been taken. You have been knowing Argentina because of Messi or the Argentinian soccer team, but you can see the common people how they're suffering because of the huge inflation that they're going through, right? Now we are going to Turkey. Now, in Turkey, of course, one of the worst thing they have done is that they're having a huge inflation. Generally, what happens when the inflation happens, you increase the rate of interest, the bank, so the amount of money available to the people becomes less, right? In turn, Turkey did the opposite. The government they actually reduces the rate of interest. That means at lower cost, the people can borrow more money, and that basically fueled more inflation and lot of lost job. So again, Myanmar. So we have gone to Sri Lanka, we have gone to Pakistan, then Myanmar. So you can see all our Indian neighboring countries having got huge problem with the finances. Now we are going to Lebanon, which is a one-tone country, and a lot of basically insurgencies and war has crippled the whole economy of that country. Now we are going to the land of pharaohs in Egypt. As you can see, if the country is not properly managed, if it is not properly governed, right, how they can fall down and how the people can suffer, right? So investment into the major cities or mega cities is great, but that need to be also invested in a proper way. Otherwise, if the government is not able to manage it, then the people will absolutely suffer. now we are going to Laos. It's basically a country in the Asia Pacific, right? Now, once upon a time, this country was growing very, very fast, but after that, they started facing huge problems. So those countries which are only dependent on tourism, right? They suffers a lot when any pandemic like COVID comes in. That is why you will find that Saudi Arabia, which is basically more dependent on basically export of the crude, is diversifying and basically started investing on the Neom city. You have seen Dubai, they're creating huge infrastructure and creating offices so that they want to basically be the service center or creating multiple offices comes there so they can generate separate kind of a revenue. If you see Qatar, Qatar is basically having the Qatar Airlines, they're investing huge amount of money so they can basically part of the aviation industry. Then basically into the media also, they're investing huge amount of money so that they can become one of the biggest media house also. So the country need to think through alternative ways of revenue. Otherwise, if one of the revenue sources gets a hit, it will suffer a lot. And that is what the prudent any businessman or any country always think of multiple ways of revenues and not dependent on one source. I think some of you loves cricket. Maybe knowing that Zimbabwe used to have a very good cricket team, but now you can see how they're suffering because of the mismanagement of the government they have done. Now we have come to Afghanistan, another neighbor of India, and you can see basically the change in the government, how the people of Afghanistan is suffering. So you have seen how basically if the basically government not able to manage properly, how the economy suffers, and if the economy suffers, how the people also suffers a lot, right? Maybe I will just show you if basically the investment is not done properly, a video on China, how basically the Chinese host city has been developed because they wanted to create kind of a global economy. Basically, too much on investment on infrastructure. As you know, 40% of the China's GDP is actually on real estate, right? So the Chinese people basically invest a lot of money on the real estate, and we see basically there are a huge number of host cities that are already been in China. So let's see this video, and then I will come to you for your feedback. Okay, so let's go and see a video on China, how they're doing it. I think some advertisement. I think
Property prices were collapsing around the globe. The Chinese government took action swiftly with a massive stimulus package, which just didn't help stabilize and revive the Chinese economy. It became a lifeline to the world. With a country building a city the size of Chicago every year, sometimes things always don't go as planned. This is China's largest ghost city. China's most deserted ghost town, Kangbashi, Ordos. Would you ever want to live in a deserted city? We all know China is one of the fastest growing countries in the world. With new roads and world-famous infrastructures rising faster than ever, China builds beautiful and diverse cities of culture. While China builds new cities, inhabiting these big cities will take much longer than expected. Hundreds of kilometers west of Beijing, in the arid deserts in Inner Mongolia, is Ordos, China. A new, infamous city was born. With generous roads and gorgeous infrastructures, this city, built from scratch, shocked the world for something they did not quite have: people. This ghost town is called Kangbashi District, infamous for its empty streets, abandoned high-rises, and deserted homes. The question is, why was Kangbashi called a ghost town? Journalists flocked to Kangbashi from the BBC, Al Jazeera, and highlighted the lack of people living in the city. Statements quickly spread, earning a global reputation with many names: a ghost town, dead city, a failed dystopian. This new city soon gained infamous headlines, showcased not for all the things it already had, but for what it lacked, namely citizens.
From a town in Inner Mongolia where gleaming buildings built with government money stand empty.
Welcome to the city of Ordos, city of the future. But no one's moved in. The city stands empty. This is what Ordos looked like 2 years ago, a city of the future in the middle of nowhere. To our confusion, no one lived in Ordos.
They tell us that almost every single one of these apartment units have been sold, but no one is living in any of them. The building hasn't stopped. Somehow people are convinced that if you keep building, people will come.
It's a ghost city with ghost apartments. No host or hostess, just ghost owners.
So the incentives in the system are to build. And if that's the easiest way to achieve that growth, then you build.
So local officials here built. Empty homes, new and neat. Block after block.
In 2009, this city was in a constant stream of criticism from international media. According to the media, Kangbashi had been the recipient of a Chinese financial crisis. The international media sensationalized about Kangbashi and commented municipal debt, oversupply, or bankrupt developers to attract readers. Many media outlets have declined to return to the area or offer a follow-up update, and that is what we're about to do now. Savvy reporters from the Times Magazine and Al Jazeera did not ask municipal governments before making any of these statements. In fact, what was glossed in these reports is only the surface of Kambashi's progress. The city's construction only began a mere 6 years before. That is not enough time to finish a new city and have it fully populated, something Western media did not understand. In fact, this isn't one of the first time that China got the reputation of a ghost city. Pudong was one of the first ghost cities, now a prominent global financial district of Shanghai. Kangbashi is an urban district of the prefecture-level city of Ordos in Inner Mongolia, China. Built on the wasteland of Inner Mongolia, was constructed to accommodate the number of investors in this booming mining town. During that time, coal and natural gas made Ordos one of the richest places in China. The Chinese government thought Kangbashi was going to be one of the fastest growing cities in China. However, in 2009, plans fell apart due to the Ordos and world financial economic crisis. And now, Ordo City, Kangbashi New Area, is frequently described by the news media as a ghost city. This 90 square mile town was built to house 1 million people. The idea behind Kangbashi was for it to serve as an administrative center of government offices and Ordos municipality of the middle and upper class residents.
How to kill.
So student, you have seen, right, that if you do not do proper investments, if you think of creating only basically smart cities, large cities, right, without proper planning and ROI, then what will happen is that you are going to create the ghost cities that has been created in China. So currently, you may be not aware, there are around 50 million apartments in China where people do not live, right? So the Chinese economy is basically sitting on a bubble. Already you're seeing a lot of real estate companies, the bubble is busted, they've become bankrupt. Of course, those news do not come. A lot of people, whole life savings has gone into the drain, right? So one has to be smart enough to make those investments so that one can see basically return on those investments also. So students, please let me know if you've got any questions. So I'm not getting any feedback from you, right? I want to be more interactive. And I see the number of students also decreasing. I know it's Saturday. So then let me close this session for today. And we will have our next session on next Saturday, but the time will be 9:30 a.m. So thank you, everybody, and have a nice week ahead.
Thank you, sir.